Hey guys, welcome back to the Main Man's channel. So today's video is another review of episode 5 of my new favorite show on TV right now, and that is Peacemaker. Man, I'm just loving this show, man. This show is absolutely crazy. It's insane. It has me guessing. It just it's making me anxious for the next episode that comes out. I'm loving the. At first, I don't really like this. I like binging everything at once, but having to wait a week. So sometimes it's like I watch the episode. I'm like, dang, I want more, and then I just can't wait to the next Thursday when the next episode comes out. There is 3 episodes left, so let's see if Peacemaker could end off on a bang. And from these 5 episodes, man, I really do think Peacemaker is gonna leave off on a bang. I can't wait for the next episode as well. Lots of crazy things happen in this episode as well. Overall thoughts on it, I just think this show just continues to get better. John Cena and Vigilante, they're on screen together. They're just um, the best duo. But this episode kind of took them away from each other and bring back some of the supporting cast and have them. We saw more of Leota's and John or Chris Peacemaker. We saw their duo, their bond, which is actually getting better. The more every time I hear, um, you know, every time I hear her talking to him, she's always giving him advice, trying to, change him. Because he's just broken. Peacemaker's this broken guy, and she's trying to change him for the better. And I'm loving their interactions every time they talk to each other, as well. And from this episode, was some of the things that she did, I could see that relationship kind of falling off. And we'll get to that a little bit later as well. Hardcore and Vigilante, they had a little scene together. I didn't really wasn't feeling their relationship as much when it comes down to it. But every time Chris is talking to someone, I just I don't know. It's just it feels better. It feels like his bonds with the whole crew is just so worth it compared to like if they try to do Vigilante and having his own thing. I love his relationships more than I did with Vigilante when he tries to talk to everyone else. But I mean, I guess it's because Chris is the main star of the show. But yeah, I mean that's how I feel right now. But anyways, guys, so this episode starts off. If you guys never seen, actually, I should say, if you guys haven't seen my previous reviews and how I do my reviews, highly suggest going back and check out the last two I did. Episode one I did or the first episode I did for the review is episode 1, 2, and 3. Last episode I did on the channel was episode 4. So if you haven't seen any of my reviews, and you just want to hear my thoughts about it, normally I go down the high points, but and what I like to do is I like to talk about the high points and the low points. But for episode 4, I talk about the major things that happen in the show. So this is big, heavy spoilery. So if you haven't seen the show, highly suggest watching the show. Come back and hear my thoughts. And if you want to hear my thoughts, so there's that. But anyways, guys, so the show starts off basically Peacemaker just being broken. He has his little quick interactions with Eagerly as well. It starts off from the last episode, where he's in in his apartment or his trailer, reminiscing about his past and his brother, and him. He's broken right now, so it was good, cool little interaction when he had with Eagly as well. Eagly tries to bring him some food, but he tells Eagly to eat it as well. So it starts off with that. Like I said, it's just trying to get a little bond going. Trying to get us, the viewers, understand why Peacemaker's just broken. And then it goes over to Leota and then how the job this job that she got right now is really just breaking her as well. I mean, she's broken as well, and the job is really getting to her, getting to her. So it starts off with that. I love her character. I'm gonna be honest with you. I think she has behind Vigilante and John. I think she really has like to me she's probably the third best character on the show. So there's that as well. And then she's having a breakthrough with her and her wife as well. So there's that. Another big part of this episode was Augie Smith. If you guys seen the previous episode, he was trying to talk to Detective Song about snitching on Peacemaker and the whole operation. So it starts off with him. Him being, I feel like every time where he has an interaction with Detective Song, I get embarrassed for him because he likes to insult her and insult her race as well. Her ethnicity, I should say. He assaults her all the time, and I'm just sitting there like, dude, come on. I mean, every time he does that, it's kind of corny. I'm gonna be honest with you. And even I just sit there. I'm like, come on, like this is kind of ridiculous. Especially it feels like it's kind of it's not required for him to do, like he shouldn't be doing that. Like we get it, they want him to make him look like he's racist, but I feel like they're kind of overdoing it at this point. We get it, we know he's racist, we know he's part of the white dragon, but like every time he insults her, it just, I don't know, it just doesn't sound good. But there's that as well. But they end up agreeing to him because he's trying to get them like, hey, do some fingerprints. In the first episode where, or the second episode where when Peacemaker hooks up with the butterfly, there's his fingerprints around the house of him being in the house, and he tells them like, hey, get my fingerprints. Is trust me, he's gonna be my son. So he snitches on the whole operation. So there is that as well. Then it leads us to this random interaction with Mern being in his house, and then a guy named we later find out his name is Christopher. Uh, Let me get his full name. Christopher or Casper Locke is what the subtitles had said, because he never really introduced himself. Like he never really said his name, but it was Captain Locke. Their interaction was really really interesting because it makes it seem like Mern had a really crazy past, and I don't know if this Captain Locke guy is a butterfly, but the way they were setting it up, it made it seem that way as well. And then interesting choice of words that he said. I needed someone that knows how to use a sledgehammer, and that was really really interesting. And I'm just sitting there, I'm like, huh, who could that be? Who could it be? And I'll be honest with you, I really don't know. I really don't know who could that be, because it's kind of like, even though it was a huge hint, right? Just so many characters in DC that probably could use the sledgehammer. It wasn't enough to me to point out the little details about who this character is. But the most interesting thing about it is played by Christopher. I always forget how to say his last name. Heyerdahl, and I know him because I love his character in Hells on Wheels. If you ever seen Hells on Wheels, man, if you never seen it, I highly suggest checking out Hells on Wheels. But I love his character, man. That's why he played in a variety of other shows as well. But like getting him just being a badass, being a villain. I love his villain in Hells on Wheels, and then him being a villain here, it was magnificent. So there was that as well. But there was that interaction between them as well. So Mern trying to get some extra help to help out the crew as well. So there's that. As we know that Mern is a butterfly as well. So kind of suggesting that this guy is a butterfly as well. So but we don't know that because they yet to reveal that as well. Then it leads into Detective Song and her partner. I always forget his name. Figetsborn or whatever. I forget his name. I should have marked it down. But anyways, it leads into the original snitches of them getting information about Peacemaker, trying to find out who was in that apartment or who had, held them up in the episode 2 as well, trying to prove the White Dragon's innocent. So there was that. Um, then after all that happens, they get their information. They know that it was Peacemaker in that apartment. So they're trying to get all the information together, to take Peacemaker down. But then it leads to the most interesting part of the whole show, and one of my favorite parts. I'm gonna be honest with you. I mean, I think the prison scene and the last episode was top tier. I don't think they could match that. But this episode just heats up a little bit more. So they get their first, or their technically their second mission. Into they found a warehouse where there might be the operation of the butterflies. So the whole crew goes there as well. They made some funny interactions. I'm gonna be honest with you. I skipped out some parts. I should say I normally do this. You guys notice I skip out some of the most, not the most important parts. I like to keep like the important things that happens in the show. But these jokes in this episode was landing. Like I was clearly cracking up so much that I love these jokes. These jokes landed more than the previous episode. I'm gonna be honest with you. But as a part where Vigilante wants to use as a chainsaw. Now this is really isn't important, but he wanted to use a chainsaw. Of course, Hardcore shut him down. But they split up teams to go into this warehouse. So it was Vigilante and Hardcore and Peacemaker and Leota as well. So they go into this warehouse. It was badass. First of all, we see one of Peacemaker's new helmets that has X-ray vision as well. So it was the funniest part is when they walk into this warehouse. There's a lady at the front desk. Leota goes is like the lady's like, "How can I help you?" As soon as Leota's about to talk, Peacemaker just instantly shotguns her in the head. It was the funniest freaking interaction as well. And then he shoots the guard that was right there as well. There was probably a third person, I don't remember. And Leota turns around, she's like, what the hell? Because it's funny because he has the X-ray vision. He could see the butterfly in her head, but obviously she doesn't. So she turns around. She's like, "Why the hell did you just massacre these guys?" And he's like, "Well, there were butterflies. I can see them." But she was like, "Why didn't you warn me?" It was the funniest interaction, the badass moment, but it was the funniest interaction as well. But seeing Peacemaker, his different types of helmets, oh my god, it's so badass, man. But anyways, so it ends up leading into them finding the in the warehouse. They let her find these boxes, Hardcore and Vigilante find these boxes, and it shows that it was the warehouse that normally the butterflies eat. The gooey thing that they eat as well. So obviously, this warehouse was part of the production for their food source or whatever. Then it leads into one of the butterflies telling them Charlie's gonna hunt them down, and instantly my first thought, instantly after they said that, was, "Oh my god, don't tell me they're doing it." And then it leads into the funny interaction with we've seen in the trailer with Peacemaker killing someone and then Leota shooting them after they're dead, and then he tells her like, "You don't have to shoot them after they're dead already." But it was so cool as well. And then it leads into they make Hardcore and Vigilante making a lot of noise, and they end up getting chased into this one room, which this room was like this weird computer room or whatever, and then they get attacked. And the show doesn't say it was. They made it seem like it was this big thing that attacked them, right? And we kind of heard it as well. But they get attacked by a gorilla. So there is that. So my first thing, obviously, when you think of DC, the first thing you think of is Gorilla Grodd, right? Obviously, they weren't gonna do Gorilla Grodd. To me, that was the most obvious thing. But then it leads into John or Peacemaker, having this bomb made from a missile. He throws this bomb because the butterflies are trying to get into the room where they chase Hardcore and Vigilante in. But it shows this gorilla just whooping um, Hardcore and Vigilante's ass. So then they eventually get into this room, and then sure and behold, here comes Charlie the gorilla, comes and attacks Peacemaker and Leota as well. And I love it too because in the show, and when they're being attacked by Charlie the gorilla, he's looked like he's about to go hammerhead. He's about to hammer fist them, right? Now, if you guys know anything, if you guys watch Planet of the Apes, you guys know that once a gorilla, or just real life in general, once a gorilla hits you, it has enough power to basically crush your bones. So every time when he was about to get hit, where somebody was about to get literally hammer fist, somebody stopped him, and I love that part as well because instantly, like, if somebody would have got hit, somebody would have died. Let's be honest with you. But they got to the point to where they're fighting. They're getting good shots off as well. They're shooting this gorilla, but it wasn't really affecting him as well. And then here comes Johnny or John Economos. I forgot how to say his name. Economos. John the tech guy is what I like to call him. Comes out of nowhere with the chainsaw and just stabs Charlie the gorilla, Charlie the general. Is what we think it is. I mean, they never really said his name. They just call him Charlie. But obviously is Charlie the general. So that, to me, it was so badass, man. Seeing Charlie the general, even though he just got absolutely murdered as well, and is the way he was fighting. He like back kicked Peacemaker. I mean, it was so dope. And he's like, "Beauty, little humans," and it was, oh my god, it was so good, man. This show, man, just keeps leveling up, man. I love it as well. But that was pretty much it with the warehouse scene as well. Then we get the first official look of Captain Locke, is the guy that Mern hired to bring on, talking to the new cat. I mean, talking to Detective Song, because he asked the previous captain to step down, and he's taking over the spot because Detective Song found out that August Smith still is getting framed for the whole Peacemaker thing. So she's like, "Wow, we found evidence, and we found we had the original snitches, come true about who actually tied them up and who was in that apartment, and find out why they were keeping August Smith in lockup, and we find out that it was Captain Locke who you know, ended up messing it up for her. So she tries to go to her uncle, who's the judge, to get a warrant to basically raid Peacemaker's trailer. But the important thing about that is, I think they're gonna find out about Peacemaker, because remember, he has that butterfly in his apartment and he's keeping that there as well. So they're gonna find out about that eventually as well. And then it goes down to the last few scenes as well. Chris, they're all celebrating after they killed this this gorilla, Charlie the gorilla. They're all celebrating or whatever. They have their moments as well. But then it leads into Leota taking Chris home. He invites her in for a drink as well. Then there's another Easter egg, another freaking Easter egg, where she's looking at some of his things that's hung up on the wall. She finds an old hanged up newspaper of Peacemaker apprehends Kite Man. I mean, come on, another Easter egg, another huge Easter. This is almost every episode. There's a new Easter egg. So badass, man. Absolutely love it as well. I geeked up, even though I did get spoiled, because I went on Twitter before I even clicked the episode, and I should have never did that. I should have known. Do not go on Twitter when you're about to watch a new episode because you people on Twitter, man, you guys like to spoil things. But anyways, she finds the Easter egg for Kiteman as well. Then it leads to them having their own little interaction as well. John Cena goes to go take a piss, and then um, Leota has this diary of Peacemaker that Amanda Waller gave her to stash in Peacemaker's house. I don't think they ever said what was in the diary, but I think it's enough to make John or Chris go a little bit crazy. But I'd like to see what's in that diary as well. Really intriguing. So she stashes the diary, and that's what I mean about a little bit earlier. I could see their bond falling off as well. And once once Chris finds out like Leota left that in his apartment, I could see, if it brings back some memories, he probably, even though he's already going through it, he's, brings back some of his past. I could see him lashing out on her as well once he finds out that she left that in his apartment as well. Then it leads to like her argument with her wife. No, she leaves a call apologizing to the wife because she blew off the wife a little bit earlier. She goes back to HQ, and then this is when the craziness happens. So she sees Peacemaker's helmet right there with the X-ray vision. She puts it on and she's looking at it. She's looking at her hands. She sees people walking on the street. She can clearly see through them as well. Then she goes and turns her head and turns to Detective or the leader Mern. And then she sees something she wasn't supposed to see, which is Mern being a butterfly. So Mern had to chase her down. Eventually catches her, and we don't know because that's where the episode ends. So things are about to ramp up, man. Things are wrapping up, man. I'm absolutely loving it. Now my theory about somebody putting on the white dragon armor a little bit earlier. I don't think they're going that route. I think they may stay away from that route. But we or unless Augie gets breaking out of jail, he gets pissed off because he's being framed for his son's thing, his son's operation. We don't know, but I don't think that's gonna happen pretty soon. I don't think Mern tries to kill Leota. I'll be absolutely surprised, but I do think he captures her and he tries to lock her up and get her away from the crew as well. But I do think that's gonna happen because obviously he doesn't want the crew to find out that he's a butterfly. We still don't know what his intentions are because he's trying to take down the butterflies, but he is a butterfly, which is really, really interesting. So I still don't know what the hell his intentions are. We have yet to find out as well. We don't know the aftermath of what's going to happen with Peacemaker after he sees this diary. There's so many questions to be known with only 3 episodes left, and I just can't wait for it. But, anyways, guys, that's pretty much it. I'd like to hear your guys' thoughts on what you think about these last 5 episodes. You guys loving the show? Comment down below if you guys are loving it, man. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts because your guys' thoughts matter more than I do. But anyways, guys, that's pretty much it. That's all I got for you guys today. Hope you guys enjoyed this quick review. Um, yeah, please watch the show. The show's absolutely amazing. If you guys haven't seen it yet, watch the previous reviews of me breaking down everything that happens in the previous episode. But you guys have a wonderful, amazing day. And see you guys later. By the way, Superman and Lois has Bizarro. Superman and Lois has Bizarro. That's super cool as well. Loving that show as well. And Book of Boba Fett. Oh my god. That Mandalorian episode, top tier. And that show's not really that great, man. I'll be honest with you. It's kind of disappointing in that show, but with that latest episode, keeping Book of Boba Fett. Oh my god, top tier. But anyways, you guys have an amazing day. See you guys later.